Howdy everybody. Welcome to video number 5 for the Ailerons. And I do both of them together in this video. I know it's like 14 and a half minutes long, um, but it is both of them, and it is the last Aileron video, just so you know. And one of the things that I have added to the video is the tools that I use and the part numbers and where I got them from. So I figured, if you're ever wondering, I'm just going to start putting this kind of scrolling list of here's what I, used maybe different than I've used in the past. I'll just add it to the video there so you have it and it's available. And you can find some of those things at multiple different places. So, while I might say it's at Aircraft Spruce, it's probably at Aircraft Tool Supplies, probably at Cleveland Aircraft Tools. I mean, there's a bunch of different places, so definitely look around. You probably don't want to always buy the cheapest tool, but you want to get a good deal. In my opinion, I think if you're going to buy a tool, you buy the right tool for the job, and if it's a little bit more expensive to get a quality product, you go get a quality product. And I will be doing, after this video, someone reached out to me and said, hey, I have some tools I want you to test out, and I'll send them to you, test them out, and give me your honest opinion. So I do have a video that will come out after this one, going over their tools, and they seem very, very nice. And so I'll have that video next week for you so you can check it out. But while we are working on the Aileron, and basically what we're doing here is just attaching the front skin, the rounded over skin for the aileron, to the front counterweight, which is attached to the ribs, and then another rib on the side. And so we're just attaching those ribs to the skin. You can kind of just see attaching it there. There's nothing big in this part. It's just basically clecoing stuff in and attaching it. And then putting in the spar. And and this is funny, and we did it a couple of times. We went and attached the skins to the spar, but there's another skin that needs to go beneath that skin, in between the spar and the skin. And so I'm not sure if I showed it here, but I had video of us putting all of these in on both of them and then taking them out on both of them and put it in the right way. So save yourself some time. Don't worry about clecoing that together because there's another skin that's going to go in there. So I figured I had a couple of jokes for you. So what's the difference between a quarterback and a baby? One takes a snap and one takes a nap. That's so dumb. How about this one? If you thought that one was dumb, this one's really dumb too. So why can't pigs play soccer? It's because they hog the ball. That's dumb too. These jokes are so bad. I love them. Okay, see, here we go. Attaching that skin, and you got to kind of make it fit. So it has kind of one of the tabs on the end rib requires it to be like on the other side of the spar. So it goes, the end ribs have that little tab, then it goes spar, then it goes the actual aileron skin on the back there, and then the nose skin. So there's like 4 pieces, and they kind of go, they kind of alternate. And so you have to kind of fit them in there. So it did take some kind of lining things up and sliding it in, and then it just all slides in nice and pretty once you have it lined up right. So it was not too bad. It was nice to have a helping hand. You could technically do this on your own, but if you have a helping hand, it's always nice to help hold things. And I would recommend screwing in your holders for your aileron so it's stationary. I don't know if you could see that here. I think at one point they weren't screwed in, but then we went and screwed them in, so it held it real nice and steady, which was nice because we had a strong kind of steady platform to use to buck against. See, they're not attached. You see it coming off. At one of these points, those are screwed in, and so they don't move anymore. And then you just put the other skin on, and then you have to put your hand down in between, just like you did with the flaps. It kind of, you squeeze it down in between. You do them randomly, obviously. I did not do the generate a random number thing like on Google that I did the last time. I just kind of randomly did them, and it worked perfectly fine. I will say, though, that there's less space in the aileron than in the flap, and so my hand did get all nice and scratched up. It was wonderful. And just know that in the last video, I think I told you about those two rivets that had to come out, and you will find out in this video. I'll actually save that for later, but they're technically 120 degrees, not 100-degree rivets. So just FYI, you'll see that coming up in a bit. But then you kind of put everything together and kind of squeeze it together once everything's there, and it looks beautiful. It all kind of goes together pretty nice. Beautiful, beautiful. So let me explain what I did. And the one thing that building an airplane has taught me is you can make up tools. Just make them up. And if it works, it works. It's great. So I have this, I got it with my oddball dimple die thing. It's the corner holder for the dimple die to buck with, but it just happens to be the right thickness to fit right in there. And so I just slid it right in there, taped it in, and then bucked it. And it worked. It worked brilliantly, I might add. So there you go. Now you know. Crazy trick, but it worked. Okay. So, because I have done this before and I've dropped my bucking bar into the nose of a skin and dented it, it was beautiful. I have, when I'm doing the bucking here, what I do is I take some tape and I just cover the holes up. But the trick is you leave the end, so you fold over the end so it's easy to grab, and then you can just start pulling the entire thing out and it comes out nice and easy. It, believe it or not, saves you some time. So those are two great tips, by the way. Don't be afraid to make a tool if you need a tool. I think it took me a while to have the courage to say, you know what, I need something that does this and curves this way and has this little thing. Just do it. Just go start making tools if you need them. I highly recommend it. Using tools for things other than what they're designed to do. Sometimes it's the right size, it fits right, whatever it might be. Just be aware that sometimes you might need to do something a little unorthodox to make it work. And you see me there, and I've found that this works really well with all of the control surfaces. If you put clecos in opposite sides every fourth one. The CS4-4s, the rivets that it's calling for, those are the 120 degree dimple and 120 degree countersink, which I read, and the regular number 30 countersink and number 30 dimple will kind of work. It doesn't fit the best, but an extra, it was another, well, $50 for tools. But figure if you're building an airplane, you got to do it right? So that's what I'm doing. So obviously, making your own tools, you're not going to go make a countersink. Go buy the right one. That's all I'm saying. Um, but those 120-degree countersink and dimplers, it does make that CS4 rivet fit a lot better. And I know we've used those in the past, and I've only ever used the 100-degree dimple or the 100-degree countersink for them, and they did stand up a little bit, but it's hardly noticeable.
Okay, I am set up for doing the trailing edge. So that's what I'm going to do.
But I will say, just going back to my comment about the 120-degree dimple or countersink, the CS4 rivet fits much better in the 120 degree. It doesn't stand up a little bit. So I do recommend getting those if you can. The 30 degree works fine, but I think the 120 degree, or I'm sorry, the 100 degree works fine, but the 120 degree works a little bit better. And then I am using for the aileron um, the angled thing in my squeezer, and it works really, really well. And as you can see, what I was talking about before, so every fourth one, so I have Cleco open hole, Cleco on the opposite side open hole, Cleco on the same side open hole, Cleco on the opposite side. Basically keeps everything nice and aligned, and then you can see every hole is every other one, and so you could go at it with the rivet going in the same way the entire time. So you could have it sitting down or standing up, and the head of the rivet, the shop head of the rivet, is on the same exact side for all of the holes. And so you just go down, click, click, click with your squeezer, and it puts all of those in. And then you turn it around, and when you remove the clecos, every single hole will go in the opposite way, and they're flush rivets on both, so it's flush on one side and then you flush it on the other side, flush when you set it. It should be flush. There is a little bit of an opening, but it's not that big. But what I found is if you do them opposite, every other one a different way, it keeps that trailing edge perfectly straight. I mean, like, not even a 16th off, like not even a 32nd off. We're talking if it's off by like a 64th of an inch. It is a minuscule amount. Um, so highly recommend that. This is the other aileron. So like I said, we were doing both of them. You've seen kind of pieces and parts of both the left and right. This is I believe the left one. And I did buy that tape, so you should the I forget what it's called, but there was a picture of it anyway. That tape is nice. It holds it in place. You cleco it together, and it kind of sets up, and then it's good to go. But I do the same exact thing here, the same exact process with this aileron, and you'll see me kind of speed past a lot of this because you don't need to really watch it again because I just did it on the other one. But you do use the pull rivets on the front, the counterweight, and they do kind of stick up a little bit, so you could take a little hammer or a little mallet, and you can kind of bend them down so they're rounded over on the edges. The instructions do talk about doing that as well, so just FYI. And then you'll see it flipped there. Um, Not a whole lot to do. Okay, you see me doing the same thing over and over and over again, so I fast forwarded through that. You don't get to see me do it a million times. So boom, go check it, make sure it's straight. And then I added on this last part here because it is very cool once they're attached. And so I did attach the ailerons to the wings. And all it is really just find the right nuts and bolts. I will caution you though, you don't want to tighten them down because they're lock washers, and you're going to be taking your ailerons off again. And so I would not recommend like tightening those down using your torque. Don't put any torque, just kind of tighten them in there so it doesn't move too bad, and you should be fine. But there you go, aileron on the wing. See ya. Have fun. Make sure you like and subscribe. Talk to you later. Bye.